Hello students, welcome to the part 4. Now we are going to discuss about the physical quantity we defined earlier, that is the specific heat capacity, which will be designated by the letter C. Earlier we had derived the formula delta H equal to C into m delta T. Delta H is the heat required, mass of substance, delta T is the change in temperature. Then C we call it as the specific heat capacity of the material of the substance. Now, property of thermal or heat capacity is that it is defined for the given mass of substance. So if the mass of the substance changes, the amount of thermal capacity or the heat capacity value will also change. So we require a physical quantity which does not depend upon the mass of substance. So we are defining this new quantity, specific heat capacity, which does not changes its value as the mass of the given substance undergoes a change. So this physical quantity which does not change its value with the change in the mass of substance, we call it as the specific heat capacity. For obtaining the specific heat capacity, what we do, we simply define it for the unit mass. That is, we divide the value of the thermal capacity with the mass of the substance so that its value for a unit mass is obtained, which is known as the specific heat capacity. For example, from the above equation we can write C equal to delta H over m delta T. We have already seen delta H over delta T is the C dash thermal capacity. So if we use this value of delta H over delta T over here, C becomes equal to C dash over m, that is thermal capacity divided by mass gives us the specific heat capacity, which is the value of the heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of the substance, that is for 1 gram or for the 1 kilogram mass of the substance. Thus, the specific heat capacity of a given material can be defined as the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance by 1 Kelvin. Heat capacity was the value of the heat energy required to raise the temperature of a given mass, but it is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of unit mass of substance, that is for 1 gram or for 1 kilogram mass of the substance. Because we are defining it for the one unit mass of the substance, its value is not going to change. Why? Now we have specified, we have fixed the mass of the substance always to be equal to 1 unit, either 1 gram or 1 kg. That's why we call it as the specific heat capacity. So word specific is added because in heat capacity mass value was not fixed, it was a variable quantity, but when we fix the mass of the body equal to 1 unit, 1 gram or 1 kilogram, we call it as the specific heat capacity. That means heat capacity defined for the specific mass. How much? That is equal to the unit mass of the substance. Again, underlying things must be present inside the definition. So if we obtain the unit, C is equal to delta H over m delta T, substituting the SI units of the three quantities, the SI unit come out to be equal to 1 joule per kg per Kelvin, or we can write 1 joule per kg per degree Celsius also. So if we define the this SI unit 1 joule per kg per Kelvin, the specific heat capacity of a given material is 1 joule per kg per Kelvin if 1 joule of heat is required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of the given material by 1 Kelvin. So if 1 joule of heat is required to increase the temperature by 1 Kelvin for how much mass of substance, that is 1 kilogram, then specific heat capacity will be 1 joule per kg per Kelvin. Similarly, if we are given a question that specific heat capacity of our given body is 10 joule per kg per Kelvin, what is the meaning? That means for that particular material, for that particular body, for 1 kg mass of substance to increase this temperature by 1 Kelvin, 10 joule of heat energy is required. Thus, the heat capacity and specific heat capacity are differing from each other only in terms of the mass. So that is a variable quantity, but specific heat capacity is a fixed quantity. That's why it is a constant it does not changes with the change in the mass. Other units are 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius or 1 calorie per gram per Kelvin, and 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius is equal to 1000 calorie per kg per degree Celsius, or we can also write it as 1 kilocalorie per kg per degree Celsius. Now few things which we have to remember about specific heat capacity. First, specific heat capacity is defined for unit mass of substance. That means for 1 kg or 1 gram. It does not changes with the change in the mass of substance. So it is a fixed quantity. It is a constant quantity for a given material. So if we have 10 kilogram of water, 5 gram of water, or even 20,000 kilogram of water, with the change in the mass of the water, its heat capacity or thermal capacity value is going to increase or decrease accordingly as the mass increases or decreases, but there will not be any change in the value of specific heat capacity of water. For example, the specific heat capacity of water is 40 to 100 joule per kg per Kelvin, which is a very high value of the specific heat capacity. So whenever we are increasing the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 Kelvin, 40 to 100 joule of the heat energy is required. So with the change in the mass, heat capacity will change, but there will not be change in the value of specific heat capacity. We can take an example. Specific heat capacity of any given body is just like the unit price of any given quantity that or a object we can buy from the market. For example, if we take an example of a notebook, if a notebook cost us 20 rupees, that is the price of one notebook is 20 rupees, then we are fixing the quantity of the notebooks we are buying. One notebook cost us 20 rupees. So if a customer comes and the customer buys 3 notebooks, that will cost him 60 rupees. Another customer comes and buys 7 notebooks, it will cost him 140 rupees. So as the amount of the notebooks changes, price of all those notebooks increases accordingly. But when we buy 3 notebooks, 5 notebooks or 10 notebooks, the combined price of the given quantity, 3 notebooks, 5 notebooks, increases, but the unit price, that is the mass of the rate of one notebook, is not going to change. So unit price of notebook is our specific heat capacity, and the total amount we are paying to the shopkeeper for 3 notebooks, 7 notebooks or 5 notebooks is equivalent or comparable with the heat capacity of a body. So with the change in mass, specific heat capacity is constant, heat capacity changes. Specific heat capacity of copper is 0.4 joule per gram per Kelvin. What is the meaning of the statement? So you can see here we have using the value, the mass in gram. So this simply means that for the 1 gram of copper, 0.4 joule of heat is required to raise its temperature by 1 Kelvin. So 1 gram of copper requires 0.4 joule of heat, so that's why its specific heat capacity will be 0.4 joule per gram per Kelvin. If we increase the mass of copper from 1 gram to 2 gram, then the amount of heat required will be 0.4 multiplied by 2, that is 0.8 gram, 0.8 joule. So heat capacity changes, no change in the specific heat capacity. A question at last: lead has specific heat capacity 130 joule per kg per Kelvin, while copper has specific heat capacity 399 joule per kg per Kelvin, almost 400. Question is, if equal heat is given to both of them for the same time, which one will show greater rise of temperature? And we have to give the reason also. So we are taking equal mass of both the materials, 1 kg 1 kg. We also want to increase the temperature of both the materials by 1 Kelvin. So question is, which material will show greater rise of temperature? if equal heat is given to both of them. We see that lead has lesser value of specific heat capacity. That means it will absorb only 130 joule of heat in order to increase temperature by 1 Kelvin, whereas copper requires far much greater amount of heat energy, that is 399 joule per kg per Kelvin. Suppose if we give only 130 joule of heat energy to the lead as well as to the copper, so lead will be able to increase its temperature by 1 Kelvin, whereas on absorbing 130 joule of heat energy, there will be a very slight rise in the temperature, but that will not be equal to 1 Kelvin. So this indicates that lesser the specific heat capacity, more rise in the temperature of the material can take place. So lead requires only 130 joule of heat to raise its temperature by 1 Kelvin, copper requires 399. So for the same rise in temperature for the same mass for 1 kg, because lead has smaller capacity than that of copper, so lead will show greater rise in the temperature. Thank you.